So let me get. Hey guys, today we got a oldie but a goodie, Candle Cove. This is a story that came out all the way back in 2009, but today I'm going to give it a shot. It comes most often at night. That niggling memory, gnawing in some corner of your mind like a rodent chewing the corners of the drywall. The memory of some brightly lit cartoon funland or a world of puppets. The memory of a TV show you would watch seated cross-legged on the living room floor with fixed enthusiasm, attention only a child can give. Attention that you wish now you perhaps haven't given so freely. For there is something about that show, something about the music, the details on the characters, their motivations and storylines, the fixed grins that seem, looking back, to be altogether too sinister to be a children's show. You try to block the memory out, and yet, there, in the back of your mind, most often at night, the puppet's fixed grin keeps on smiling. Candle Cove is a widely known and popular creepypasta about a fictional television series recollected by a number of posters on a childhood forum. As posters share their recollections, the things they collectively remember become more and more sinister, with the characters featured clearly being unsuitable for the children's viewing. Notable examples are the laughing stock, the boat that is alive and sports a huge mouth, or is horrible, a one-eyed character with two large teeth, and most famously, a skeleton character known as the Skin Taker, who wears the flesh of children over his naked bones. Hardly Sesame Street, is it? Net nostalgia for him. Sky Hill, 033, subject. Candle Cove, local kid show. Does anyone remember this kid show? It's called Candle Cove. I think I must have been 6 or 7. Anyway, I never found any reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 72. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 p.m. Mike_Painter 65, subject. Candle Cove, local kids show. Yeah, it seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove, it was about pirates, right? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of the cave talking to a little girl. Skyo 033. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls, real like low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique, but didn't belong on his body, kinda. I don't remember what station it was. I don't think it was WTF though. June 2005. Sorry to resurrect this little thread, but I know exactly what show you mean. Sky Show. I think Candle Cove ran for only about a couple months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was on channel 50, it was channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. It took place in Candle Cove and was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughing Stock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily. And there was music constantly playing. Don't remember the girl's name. Janice or Jade or something. Pretty sure it was Janice though. Sky Hill 033. Thank you, Jaren. Memories flooded back when you mentioned Laughing Stock in channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea and it had an awful Ed Ryan verse. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden models to a foam puppet version of the head that talked. Mike Painter 65. Yeah, I remember that too. Do you remember this part, Sky Show? You have to go inside. Sky Show 033. Oh Mike, I had a chill reading that. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place you had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was. And the camera would push in on Laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside. with two eyes askew and that flopping foam jaw and the fishing line that opened and closed. Ugh. I hated it. It looked so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above really tall and narrow teeth. Kevin underscore Hart. I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when this show was on. Nightmare for you. Jared 2005. No, that wasn't the villain. The puppet with the mustache. That was the villain's sidekick. Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he only had one eye, but yeah. The villain was another Marriott, the skin taker. I can't believe they used to let us watch that back then. Kevin underscore Hart. Jesus Christ. Skin taker. What kind of shows were they letting us watch? I seriously could not look at the screen when the skin taker showed up. He used to send it out of nowhere on a string, just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape. And his glass eyes are way too big for a skull. Fucking hell. Sky Show 033. Wasn't his top hat and cloak all strewn up crazily? That's supposed to be children's skin? Mike Painter 65. Yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close, his jaw just slid back and forth. I remember the little girl said, why does your mouth move like that? And the skin taker didn't look at the girl, but at the camera and said, to grind your skin. Sky 033. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory. A bad dream I had where the opening jingle ended. The show faded in from black and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cutting to each of their faces, and they were all just screaming, and the puppets and the marionettes were flailing and just screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she had been through all this for hours. I woke up so many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it. Kevin underscore Hart. I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. I remember that was an episode. Skyhall 033. No, that's not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally just standing in place crying and screaming for an entire show. Kevin underscore Hart. Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said it, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. During 2005. Oh God, yes, the little girl, Janice. I remember seeing her shake and the skin taker screaming through his teeth. His jaw careening so loudly I thought it would come off his wire hinges. I turned it off and it was the last time I ever watched it. I ran to tell my brother and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on. Mike Painter 65. I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little in the early 70s when I was 8 or 9. And if she remembered a kid's show, Candle Cove. She said that she was surprised that I could remember that and asked why. She said she was surprised I could remember that and, well, I asked why. She said because I used to think it was so strange. You said, I'm gonna go watch Candle Cove now, Mom, and then you would just tune the TV to static and watch dead air for 30 minutes. Wondering so.